We all know that we have to achieve sustainability by 2030, which is India's most achieved target. And first will be the NDC, which is well advanced. That the nation achieve 40% of the cumulative energy power through its sustainability and through green resources. Furthermore, the share of non-fossil sources can also be achieved in this regard. With not, I'm not taking much of this time. So I request Albuni ma'am to kindly give her welcome address.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. Now may I call upon Dr. Falguni Shah, Principal of RR Educational Trust, BA College, for the address and to share about it.
Good morning, respected distinguished guests, our keynote speaker for today's international conference, Dr. Reni Francis, esteemed colleagues, and dear friends. On behalf of RR Educational Trust, BEd College, and KLM's Amlani College of Commerce and Economics, it is indeed an honor to welcome you all to this international conference on the theme India's global footprint, education, trade, innovation, culture, and sustainability. This theme is not just a reflection of India's contribution to the world, but also an invitation to explore how we can further strengthen our global presence in these pivotal areas and look forward towards Sustainable Development Goals 2030. In education, we have nurtured thought leaders who have transformed global industries and institutions. In trade, our economic reach continues to expand, marketing India in vital player in the global market. Next, our commitment to innovation is evident in the rise of startups and technological advancements that are impact to the world stage. Meanwhile, India's diverse culture, with its rich heritage of art, philosophy, and traditions, continues to foster global connections and mutual understanding. And lastly, the realm of sustainability. Our ancient values align with modern practices aimed at creating a balanced and harmonious future. Throughout this conference, we will explore these facets through insightful presentations, discussions, and collaborations. Together, let us envision how we can harness India's potential to create an even a more profound global impact. Also, a warm gratitude to Dr. Jitendra Ayarkar sir for organizing this conference in collaboration with our RR Educational Trust, BEd College. Thank you for joining us for this journey. Let's make this journey an impactful and memorable one. Dhanyavad and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Falguni Shah, ma'am, to throw the light on our theme for today's international conference. May I call upon Mrs. Chitra Khedekar, IQSC coordinator, to introduce our today's keynote speaker, Dr. Reni Francis, Principal, Pillai College of Education and Research, Chembur. Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Reni Francis, ma'am, is currently the principal at MES Pillai College of Education and Research, Mumbai, and was previously working with Jabriya Indian School, Kuwait. She has been awarded the doctoral degree in Arts Education, University of Mumbai, and doctoral degree in Business Economics, University of Mumbai. She has a varied experience of more than 24 years in facilitating learning with school students, teachers, and teacher educator in India and Kuwait. She has authored 28 books, international 6 and national 22. She was the member of Board of Studies Education, University of Mumbai, and member of the Syllabus Revision Committee of Credit-Based Choice System, University of Mumbai. She is a recognized PhD guide in education, University of Mumbai. She has presented several research papers in various conferences and seminars conducted both nationally and internationally. Well versed in planning, conducting various activities and programs, at the institution and national level. Proficient in conducting training workshop for teachers as a part of their CPD state and national level, students, school and college, parents and community conducted sessions towards community outreach program, adult literacy drive, special language programs for second language learners. She is on the editorial board for few research journals. She has 5 approved patents, 2 Australian patent and 1 German patent and 2 Indian design patent. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Chitra
the.
ma'am, for introducing our today's keynote speaker. May I request Dr. Rainey Francis ma'am to for the keynote address. Ma'am, towards
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Chitra, and thank you so much, Falguni and Jitendra, for inviting me today on this great occasion where we can join hands together in speaking the very important topic that we have for as a theme of the conference. It is really a great pleasure to be here. More than the pleasure, I feel a lot of sense of gratitude and blessed to be a part of two eminent colleges who have taken this lead in conducting this organizing this conference, making it so vibrant and relevant for our world today. Um, Thank you so much, the entire team. And if I can, may I share the presentation now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. You
Yeah,
can.
thank you so much. Just taking it as a slideshow. Okay. In line with the theme of the conference and the entire understanding of how we need to look forward for bringing up a very innovative India and a future ahead, we have this particular topic that I have coined is shaping a resilient and inclusive global future. When I speak about resilient is the term itself speaks about that you need uh, be in a position to handle all the kinds of the ups and the downs that you will find in any field of life, whether it's your life, whether it is your profession, or whether it is the market sense that you're speaking about, the ups and rise falls that you see. It's very important that we start understanding how we are able to handle it, the situation, the crisis that comes, and to bounce back. Resilience is basically you need to have the stamina. I always feel that it's the inner strength that you need to have when you need to bounce back. And also the other concept that I have put up here is just excuse me for the spelling, is the inclusive global future. When I speak about the word inclusive, is all compassive or encompassing every aspect that is involved in shaping the future for tomorrow. Um, I need to start my presentation with this very beautiful quote that I just happened to hear when I was in a part of in another conference, and I felt that this app fits in well here. India is not just a geography, but a melting pot of history, heritage, and hope. There's a lot of expectations that we have when we speak about India as a country, and how we can look up at India as a in the form of a in a transformational phase. So what we look at, when we talk about what highlights India, it is we are moving from a developing economy to a global influencer. I need not specify or delve deeper into it, but we know how we have been an impact in the various aspects with respect to our export, with respect to our trade, with respect to our commerce, with respect to our industries, and how we have become a forerunner in many of the industrial projects, industrial tasks, and upliftment of various countries. And when you start assuming the role in the global scenario, that's when you start understanding how important it is to develop your country as well. Because if you need to raise your standards or raise your bar or reach out to the other part of the country, of the world, then it's important that you start nourishing your inner heritage of having better equipped skilled workers in our own country. So one aspect that we see here is emphasizing of the interconnectivity of the world today and how India is contributing across domains, key domains. Now, when we are talking about key domains, we are talking about infra, we are talking about trade, we are talking about business practices that really make a lot of difference. We have been open to so many industries. We have been open to in moving on to our boundaries, extending our boundaries, so that we are able to encompass everything that comes in the process of growing. And in the meanwhile, when we are doing that, we are harnessing our own skilled labor in meeting to that point. So if we are moving ahead, then how does India become, what are the factors that we need to look into in growing into a global power? First is the main component that we need to look into is education. We know that education is the prime factor that leads us from darkness, from ignorance to awareness to knowledge, and we know knowledge is as a power. Because once you are knowledgeable, you are not in the light of, you are in the light away from darkness, and you are able to look into all the aspects that shows you the direction how to move forward. It's a small little effort that we take, but when it comes with a big population like ours, then the whole quantum that you can make or bring the difference is huge. We have a wonderful group of a population. We are huge in number, and because we are huge in number, our productivity that we can offer to the world at large is better. India's role as a hub of education and talent, we have the IITs, the IIM. Now we have many more private universities, educational frontiers, which help us to increase the level of education, not only in depth, but width, and it is moved ahead in breadth as well. So every aspect, every city, every village, we are now seeing that how education is seeping into each and every component of our country, and thus making each of them very knowledgeable. We have more than 700 global institutions where we have collaboration. This enables our students to choose career options and to study abroad. Meanwhile, we do not consider them as a brain drain. We consider them as augmenting our skill set so that we are able to mutually have a great learning exposure. We have the 2020, which has emphasized on internationalization and global knowledge exchange. We know that how NEP 2020 has really made or changed the entire component or the phase of education. We understand there are few challenges when we see the NEP 2020 implementation, but I'm sure the phasing out of the NEP will really understand that we are at global standards now. The kind of exposure that NEP is going to provide to our students with the multiple baskets and offering multiple subject options will really help our students to do our best. We also have a cross-cultural understanding and solving of global challenges through innovations in learning. We are not restricting our learning process. We are not restricting our traditional practices to going down the entire lane of the process. But we are trying to move on with the kind of feeling that how educational exchanges or learning experiences can foster mindset, the growth mindset of each and every person. So we are just looking forward how education as one component of reaching the global and the resilient and inclusive society can be fostered. The next we have in innovation and trade. This is the second component that we look up. So if you look at the way the entire aspect is phased through, the first is we will have. Can we have someone who is waiting to mute, please? Madam, can you please mute yourself?
Excuse me, ma'am. Just 1 minute, ma'am. Nitin Kharat, sir. Nitin Kharat, sir.
Madam, can you please mute yourself? Nitin, sir.
Nitin sir.
Additional.
Nitin sir.
Same other additional Jima.
Ma'am, just 1 minute. I'll just try to
Nitin
call him.
This
sir.
high additional check.
Yeah,
Nitin sir.
I think.
Nitin Kharat sir.
Technology has definitely made us take this opportunity of going into each one's palms. And, room. But I think we need to respect the fact that technology should not be so convenient that we forget where we are.
This high additional this
Innovation and trade. So if you see through the entire the chart that we are looking up with resilient and inclusive sector, the first we said is education. Once we start educating the people, that is the knowledge that they will have in understanding what new things have to be made. It could be a small little example of using your own household processes that you are using every day. There was a age-old tradition that how you use your. Let me start with a small little example of a brush. We had the bark of the tree, which was used as a neem tree, which was used as a brush for cleaning your teeth. It moved from there to the brush concept. From the brush concept, if you see the various kind of the bristles that are used in the brush, there's not a single brush that is used universal. For children, the bristles are softer. Some people who have issues in the gum, they also use a softer bristle. Then there is a medium bristle. Then there are, rough or a strong bristle. So what happens in all these things? Then there's a zigzag bristle. Then there's a circular portion in the top part of the bristle that helps in the movement of the teeth, because the brushing has to be in a circular movement. So all these things really make an understanding of how a concept used in cleaning the teeth can be used in understanding how. So if innovation has to happen, there has to be a component of education. Unless you educate people, they will not know what changes they need to make. Hence, once you start with educating, then you start with innovation. And when you start up with innovation, you start understanding that these are the changes which you need to do to make things easier or make the experience better. Like Falguni already mentioned about the entrepreneurship, the huge set of startups that we have. We are the third largest in globally to have the maximum number of startups with over 100 unicorns. You can imagine if we are talking to anyone today, a youngster, if you meet youngsters today, they all have a thought of having an innovative idea to bring up an innovation. They want to do things differently. They are seeing the world around them. They are seeing the things around them. And they think that, no, they need to change. They are not, there was a financial crunch that they would, earlier people would think. Today, we are not even thinking about that. There are so many companies who are ready to fund these startups because the idea is unique. Every time when you do all these things, you are just growing little by little. You may not be a unicorn. You may not be a multi-million company, but a small effort that is taken by any company or any individual really makes a difference in the company. We are again, we have a great advancement in India's role in G20, which we also have a free trade agreement that we are talking about, and the Make in India initiative. That has really made us to understand that we need to produce so that we need to sustain. The dependency that we have on other countries will reduce the financial burden that we are facing. Hence, production in our own country will help us to ease and it's great to give an employment opportunities to our own citizens. We also have an example here that I would like to say is about the UPI. Just take the unified payment interface that we are speaking about and how UPI has changed. I'll give you an example of a farmer who's in a remote village and having his or her produce. And what happens there is the produce is made, the farmer takes it to the wholesaler keeps it on till the stock has to be at a right pricing. The farmer is stuck because the farmer has invested the money while the produce is being done. The wholesaler says that when I finish, I'll give you the entire payment will be done once I finish the sale of this product. A little amount is given to the farmer. The farmer is stuck with the little amount because the farmer needs the entire amount so that the next set of farming procedures can be done. The wholesaler again goes to the retailer. The retailer retains that little money of the wholesaler, unable for him to sell the whole, get the profit of that, and pump into the producer back again. So this chain has really made the whole production process to be slow. With UPI and the various online payment, fintech, the financial technology that has really emerged, the producer gets the payment immediately. As soon as the produce is given, the payment is made because they are not waiting for the cash flow to come back to the producer. There is always a amount of which is transferred immediately. So this enables the producer not to be stuck for the cash to be coming in. It can just move on with the UPI that has really emerged. What happens with that? We are creating more jobs. We are creating more economic. We are trying to bring in more economic development. We are trying to bring in advancement in the way we are functioning. We need not carry huge amount of cash when we are moving around for shopping or for any kind of purchases. We have the digital card with us, which enables us to move on. We have our phones, which enables us to do the transaction smoothly. This has enabled us to understand that how we are able to move ahead. So that's another aspect that you are seeing when you are talking about the global interface. Because when we talk about the global interface, we do not hold on our transactions of trade because of the payment that needs to go. It can happen immediately, that on the spot the payment can be transferred, which emerges or enhances the entire trade practices. Culture is another aspect that we are really very immensely blessed in India because of the rich heritage that we have. Like I said, we are a melting pot of rich heritage and hope. We need to understand that what we have doesn't need to be renewed through new things which are westernized, but we need to understand that in our culture itself we have enough and more to augment it, to think that how our lifestyle can be impacted because of the culture. I'm giving you a very small example of yoga, how yoga has become a big aspect, where we are acknowledged for having yoga, giving it out to the entire world. It's a culture that we own. It's a culture that we have as very rich in ourselves. But this has really helped us to move ahead to see how things can be better. We are also talking about the rich cultural heritage sites that UNESCO has identified, which also shows that how we are attracting tourists in our country to visit, so that these cultural heritage sites that has been identified by UNESCO can be a trademark or can be a hallmark of a visitor. People would like to come here and then they would like to cherish this culture, know more about this culture. That's again bringing us the revenue. We are also trying to tie global ties. We are strengthening with different policies and regulations that just makes the culture to be more vibrant and the culture to be more effective. Sustainability is not a jargon anymore, is not something that we are going to run away from it, but it is a need of the hour. We do not have a planet B, or we do not have a plan B. We just have one planet that we are in today, and we do not have any other options to go ahead. So if we do not have anything else to go, so it means that we need to protect the one that we have right now. And we are already at a ticking mark. The clock has started ticking for us long back. but we need to wake up at least now to understand how we can make a difference. So we are talking about a green revolution. We have seen how the different revolution has really brought about a drastic change. The main part of sustainability in our country has to start with awareness and sensitization. Once you are aware and you're sensitized, it's then that sustainability can happen. Do not start thinking that what am I going to do or how am I going to make an impact. It means that we have to be the first person to start. The others will follow is what we need to follow, practice as a way of life. So we have renewable energy. We are the third largest of solar energy. We have Solar Alliance, focus on electric mobility and sustainable agriculture. We have the Mission for Life, Life for Environment. It was one that we had seen in the climate change conference, and we have the government who has been doing a lot of initiatives, and as educational institutions you are supposed to follow this mission life, and you're supposed to upload your lifestyle for environment documents and evidences that you will show that you are following the mission life, and you're also trying to build an environment responsibility for a better future. What are the challenges and opportunities that we see? One, the challenges when we speak about is the rural-urban divide, the climate change, and equitable growth. A very small example that I would like to share is my recent, just my last week experience in one of the states of India, and in a very, very remote area, remote village, where even the roads are not done properly. The infra is really bad. The water supply is bad, and they have a wonderful learning space for students, and where more than I think more than 1,000 plus students are studying under various courses. But unfortunately, when it comes to providing them facilities, they are unable to do that, is because there's a major divide that we have of the rural urban. Forget about the rural urban, that's one big divide. In rural itself, we have still those age-old practices of traditional practices of conservative practices that do not allow students to or women to move further. A very small example I would like to quote here is, I had to travel in a vehicle, and we were three of us. The driver was one person, two women, and one male. So apparently, since we were the guest, so it was a SUV vehicle, and I told the other lady who was taking us, I told her, this person and I, the male member and I would sit behind. Why don't you please sit in front? She said, no, please, can you please ask the male member to sit in front? So I said, no, that's not possible. He would not be sitting in front. We will be the guests, so we'll be sitting behind. You sit in the front. And she just took me aside and she said, please don't do this to me. And I said, why? What happened? What is the problem? I said, she said that this driver happens to be from the village of from the husband's side, from her husband's side, and I cannot sit next to him. And I said, why? So she said, how can I sit besides a male who is from my sasural or from my husband's side, and I sitting with him in the front? It is impossible. I will not be able to do it. You go, madam. I will come back later when the car comes back. I said, no, doesn't matter. I said, I will sit in front. You please sit behind. This is what I'm talking about today. Then where can we speak about women empowerment? Where can we speak about traditional mindsets to be changed? The rural divide that we are seeing is, I'm not talking about the rural urban. The rural itself is divided so much in fragmentation that we will not be able to see too many things. Interacting with the girls and the women there really seemed so astonishing that a person like coming from Mumbai could not even think that even in our own country, in a very progressive state, we do have situations that still happen like that. Then where can we speak about innovation? So one of the challenges that we have, the bridging of the rural urban divide, the bridging of the rural divide and the urban divide. There is a divide in our urban cities also. How are we able to bridge it? We are not able to see our pathway most of the times. We need to look at that. Climate change is a big challenge that we are. Uncertainty in the climate really brings in a lot of destruction when we have to speak about trade, when we have to speak about agriculture, when we have to speak about financial prospects that we can look with respect to any kind of take it solar energy or take it anything. There are undercurrents because of climate change that we are facing. We also need to see that we need to talk about equitable growth, because that's what we spoke about, inclusive environment. The opportunity that we have is to leverage these demographic dividends. So we do have a demographic dividend, that is, I'm talking about the rural urban. I'm talking about the rural and urban also has a demographic dividend. We need to bank on that, because that's our main resource. Our human resource are our greatest promoter or propeller to any kind of innovation or any kind of change that we need to have. Digital transformation, going digital is another big thing that we have to go. Getting into cashless transactions and moving ahead to many aspects of digitization. Digital does not mean, so one of the places that I visited, they said PPT was the only digital that they understood. They have to learn more beyond that. So PPT is not the only digital that we are talking about in education. There's much more. We have really transpired it to a greater extent. We have global leadership roles that we need to also look at when we talk about the opportunities. So what do we talk about the call to action? How do we look at it? We are shaping the future together. We are coming together. It's not we are talking about people from the east or the north or the west or the south. No, it's one. We are talking about one world. We are talking about one village, one world. When we are talking about this, it is not a single effort. It's a global effort that we are seeing. It's just not, India's story is just not about its rise, but it's about its ability to uplift and inspire the world. We are rising, we are moving forward, but are we capable of doing that? Are we able to do that? Are we facing challenges in that? And if we are facing challenges, what are the challenges? How are we getting inspired, and how can we inspire the others? That's something that we need to learn. We need to encourage partnership. We need to bring in advancement in education, innovation, culture, and sustainability. We need to learn. There are best practices around. We need to learn. We need to see how we can move further and see how we can do the best. So when I end this, I would like to say India's legacy and vision, I would just like to say, from tradition to transformation, India's global journey continues to inspire progress. So we are here to understand. We are not the traditional. We are not saying that we need to leave our tradition, but we are talking about tradition to transformation. We are trying to look about for that transformation that will really make a big impact on the global scenario. And we are already in it. Please let us move in a unified strength, not pulling us back with any kind of challenges, with any kind of thoughts, with any kind of aspects. Be very vigilant to any news or any media articles that you come up. Be vigilant, be understanding to what are the real facts of it. Just sometimes we need to look at it in a very you need to sit back, think about it, and understand all aspects. The news should not be something that it's just a glancing thing for you. You need to sit and understand the aspects so that you are well informed of what is happening, and that will help us to make a better future. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I really feel blessed to be here today morning with each one of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reni Francis, ma'am, for the keynote address. Madam, your insightful and thought-provoking address has set a powerful tone for our conference. On behalf of RR Educational Trust, B.Ed College, and MKLM's B.L. Amlani College of Commerce and Economics, we extend our deepest appreciation for your time, expertise, and contribution. Thank you once again, ma'am, for sharing your wisdom. Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Rene ma'am, for sharing all the insightful information for us. And it is fact, it is true that India should not only work towards tradition, but all means go towards the transformation also. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presence and for your valuable time.
Is it okay if I can take a leave? I'll
Ready,
join
ma'am.
back
Thank
in
you
a while.
so much.
Thank you, Jitendra sir. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Moving further, the session is open for the paper presentation.
Anyone is ready with the presentation, please?
Dr. Sudhan Rathod,
Deepa Naik.
Deepa Naik ma'am,
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
ma'am, you can
Ma'am.
share your PPT and start your paper presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I
Thank you,
begin?
ma'am.
Hello? Hello? I'm not sure if I'm audible.
You're audible. You're audible.
Okay.
Deepa ma'am, are you ready with your presentation, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to project it. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, please.
Is my PPT visible, ma'am?
No, no, it's not visible.
Okay. Now is it visible?
No, not yet. It's
I'm
not
not
visible.
sure what the issue is because here it's showing me that it's on screen. Let me try again. Give me a minute, ma'am. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience.
You take your time, ma'am. Anybody next? Anyone else wish to present before that?
Yes, Deepa ma'am, it's visible now. Yes, Miss Deepa, it's visible now.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Hello, may I begin?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
My paper is all about women entrepreneurs, and I've tried to make an. I'm sorry, but I think again it's stuck. Uh, I think somebody else should take the opportunity, ma'am. I'm not able to play my PPT here. It's not moving, and I don't know what the issue is. Give me 1 minute. Maybe somebody else could take this opportunity. I'll try once again. I'm very sorry. I don't know what the issue is.
Yes. Tanmay Tavre, Mr. Tanmay Tavre, may I request
Yes,
you
ma'am.
to start your presentation, please?
Okay. Wait.
Tanmay Tavre,
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Is it visible?
yes, you can begin your presentation, please.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to respected ma'am and sir. Today, I, Tanmay Tavre from Amity College, would like to present my research paper regarding the subject of startup ecosystem, with our main topic being focusing on entrepreneurship in India. Well, first let's talk about what is a startup ecosystem. A startup ecosystem is a network of interconnected organizations or individuals that support the overall creation and growth of a startup. A startup basically starts with an individual or a group of people with an idea, which later on is supported by various other groups, maybe financially, by ideas, by marketing, by maybe uh, experience in the field. And when all of this come together is only when a successful startup is built, or is a successful startup is built or created. And a good startup can later on build and grow to become a successful business, which can not only help the person creating or the people included in the startup, but also other people who can get employment, as well as the overall economy of the country. Well, now let's talk about what are the startup ecosystems of India and what are the key elements of it. Hopefully, uh, my PPT has changed. Yes. So let's talk about the key elements of a startup ecosystem. Well, first things first, we will talk about the universities. Well, what are the universities? Well, universities act as a knowledge hub for the startups, which help in fostering innovation and new development, as well as research in a idea. For example, maybe I may have an idea regarding, let's say, AI. Let's say I have an idea about AI, but I'm not that good at making, let's say, I'm not that making it very beautiful or graphically presentable for others. In that case, I can use help of somebody else who can come with me. Maybe I'm not that good at marketing. Then somebody else who has experience in marketing can help me understand how I can market, and use my own talent to grow it, as well as commercialize it. Next, we will talk about the other key element, that is funding organizations. Well, as the name suggests, these funding organizations are generally a singular person or a group that help in providing capital, a financial capital to a venture. It can either be by angel investors, by the government, by crowdfunding, etc. Because no matter how great an idea is, it needs some kind of financial backup to to be its backbone, to create a certain kind of uh, environment for that idea to grow and nurture, and become something very good. Next key element we can talk about is service providers. Well, service providers generally include services like legal services, financial services, marketing services, and various other small tinkers that maybe we don't think about. Like,
Very good morning. Sit down.
yes, different kind of services, like transportations, maybe internet. For example, if let's say I have a computer based business, then I would need good internet, good light, good electricity for it to, maybe good computers for, for my business to be successful. Next, we'll talk about the research organizations. Research organization generally include research organizations are organizations that come together to innovate and think of a product in an innovative or an different way, out of the box way. Because again, at the end of the day, let's say if I'm bringing a product that somebody has already made, there's not a very good chance, unless I'm like marketing in a different way, that I can create a real business in it. Only when I find a unique use to it, or find a unique development in it. Let's say, for example, if I were to be in the field of medicine, and if I were to create a medicine that could help in weight loss, that is something that I have to research about it to to make it into reality. And then only when I've created something unique like that, I can sell it, and I can create a financially beneficial business out of it. Then we talk about the support organization. Well, a business is not only starts with only an idea or just by financially. It has various other organizations supporting it. It can be like incubators, accelerators, marketing helps, transportational goods. If you have a factory, you need space for it. Then for that, you certain organizations can help you bring machinery for your manufacturing factories, give you space for factory, etc. That's why different support organizations are important, and these key elements together build up a robust startup ecosystem. Well, next, let's talk about the government policies that help in startups, specifically in India. Well, although the idea of startup can be very tantalizing, people still are not, very much. People still are not very much introduced to the ideas of what how government is helping them in startup. They just think that startup is something that only you have to do, only you have to take the pressure, the blame, the risk of it. But that's not true. Government has created various different policies in the last decade that can help a startup and ease a lot of their problems. So now the main thing that a startup, some of the key policies that the government has been is obviously number one. Let's talk about the Startup India initiative. Well, the Startup India initiative you know is a flagship program, which serves as a foundation, simplifying which helps in simplifying regulations, along with helping in other aspects of marketing, gaining financial help, funding, etc. Its main two goals are of giving a funding opportunities, as well as acting as a mentorship program. That way you can learn about, even if you are a new aspiring individual in the field of business, you can learn a thing or two from people who are already experienced or in this, or have been in this business for a longer time. That's where the Startup initiative comes in. Next, another policy is the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, also known as SISFS. Well, as the name suggests, it is a scheme created by the government that helps in funding of various new, growing, or becoming new startups. The funding can go up to 10 crores, and up they have up until now they have helped over like 200 or 300 ventures via these schemes. And this funding can help really blossom your idea or whatever startup you have into a whole new level. And so that is why this policy is very important for a lot of new entrepreneurs. Next policy we have is the credit guarantee scheme for startups, also known as CGSS. Credit guarantee, well, let's say if you're not somebody who's from a very strong financial background, but you have a good idea and you want to start a startup, but maybe you don't have a great, or maybe you don't get great funding, but you also don't have a great credit score, then it is hard for you to get a loan for to kickstart your idea. Well, when that is the case, this scheme, this policy helps you, where the people who are operating this policy not only help you in getting a loan up to, I think, 7 crores, up to 5 crores. Not only they help you get a loan up to 5 crores, but they also help you get it on a very friendlier term. Like for example, maybe the policies regarding your loan, maybe you don't have to pay as much interest as you normally would. Maybe the tenure of paying the loan can be increased, maybe from 20 to 30 years, etc. And this helps a young entrepreneur to gain confidence to confidently move without caring about the financial problems. Next, we have the Atal Innovation Mission, also known as AIM. Atal Innovation is also a government policy that helps in getting funding, specifically in technological sectors, but it also helps in various specific fields such as prototype development, market research, capacity building, basically stuff that a person who maybe is not a veteran in the entrepreneurship world, maybe he may not know about a lot of these aspects of prototype development, getting a patent, getting market research, capacity building, and that is where this Atal Innovation Mission comes in. Next, we have the Abyss portal. The Abyss portal is a government-based portal which acts as a platform for various new upcoming startups to apply for government registration, which can normally be very weird. As we know, sometimes government the government functioning can be extremely slow, and if you're starting a business, trying to get a license, trying to put proper getting proper approvals, proper clearances can be extremely hard and can be extremely discouraging for a new entrepreneur, or a guy who's aspiring to be create a startup. That is when this Abyss portal comes in. Over almost 1.3 crore Indians have registered in it, and the entire point of this Abyss portal is to help in process of company registration, GST compliance, licenses, approvals, clearance, basically to make the entire process of just starting a business extremely as smooth as possible. And these different policies together have really promoted the idea of startup of not just being this negative thing, but something that they can a dream that is plausible and something that they can easily follow. Next, let's talk about the growth of startups in India. Well, as the two images or the two figures here suggest, there have been many startups in India, mainly in the fields of AI and SAS, healthcare, life insurances, BFSI, edtech, retail tech, real estate, automation, automobile, travel and hospital, etc. And the main sectors or the main areas where these startups are generally created or grown are Bangalore, where 22 to 24% of startups in India are built, then Delhi, where 20 to 21%, and then finally Mumbai, 12 to 13%. So a lot of these startups are concentrated in this area, and other areas the overall concentration is about 45%, which again we still can develop, and maybe not just limit the idea of startups being built in these cities, but in various other cities like Pune, Kolhapur, Goa, Chennai, etc. Next, let's talk about the number of startups that have increased in India. Well, if you look at the past decades, the number of startups in India have almost quadrupled. They have like quadrupled in the past 10 years. Although the number of startups added every year have not increased that much, the total number has increased, which is a good sign, which means that a lot of the startups are not only starting but they are also being successful. Now, although the now with all of this, India right now ranks number 3 in overall startups. I think it has over 100 unicorns, where it where in the world it is number 3 in numbers of total startup output, which is great. But if you look at the other aspect of it, India is actually ranked 21st in the startup environment field. Well, what is that? Well, obviously, as our topic is startup ecosystem, uh, although starting and although many people can have the ideas of starting a startup, a good ecosystem to promote that idea is very important. And although India is number 3 in the total startups created, it is still far behind in how good the ecosystem is. That is, people in India today are still at some level